Did you see the news today? Anyone that has an interest in medical cannabis in Australia should take note of what happened today. And some are going to utilize this in multiple different ways. But the thing to highlight is that people have died, families are hurting, families are mourning, and families, rightfully so, want to understand how things went on.
They confirmed that information went to his medical team, but they continued to sell him cannabis at least 4 more times over the next 6 weeks. And in that time, his condition rapidly deteriorated. And then in March, he was eventually hospitalised involuntarily. And then even after the mother told the company that he was now in hospital, they contacted him again and offered another appointment and more cannabis. That he was able to be prescribed this medication without his normal GP or psychiatrist knowing about it. They said that after they contacted to tell them that their son had ended his life, the company actually continued to post 2 more packages of medicinal cannabis to their dead son, and that's really exacerbated their grief and made everything worse.
Now, of course, some are going to come out and say this is just going to be used by the media. It's going to portray a certain opinion and a lens of cannabis. It's not completely accurate, etc. Right? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I think this is an opportunity to understand that we haven't got it right, and we have the opportunity to get it right. And really what it's about is that many of us know the plant, and many of us know how to get the most out of the plant. And what's happened is the biggest thing that's happened, and to explain it, you've never heard anyone say, I've got a great scheme. Here's how to get rich very slow. No one's going to sign up for that. But when there's this green rush, you're going to get all sorts of shady characters that come in with only one objective, and that is their own self-interest and their own self-gain. And so unfortunately, what's happened in this space is that you've got a lot of people that's come into it and they're not ethical people. And so if you've got unethical people running businesses, the businesses are going to operate in an unethical manner. And if they don't have a history in healthcare, how are they going to know what sort of standards are needed to uphold? The other big factor that happens as well is that you may have a lot of people from the pharmaceutical world that have then come into this space and have come into this space with a sense of hierarchy, but potentially they weren't that good in their jobs. And so they're coming into the cannabis space and trying to talk down on other individuals when maybe they don't have a lot of skill or specialty themselves, but now they're using titles and badges to then be able to come in and position themselves. And so the result of that, the result of the shady characters, is that we've got families that are hurting at the moment, and we've got a message around how dangerous this is. And this contrasts everything that we know. We shared results recently, which are consistent with what we know about cannabis, and it is relatively safe, and it can be tolerable for most people. However, there are populations that respond negatively to cannabis. There are individuals that develop dependencies and addictions with cannabis. And I've been saying this for years, and LinkedIn blows up at me every time. And now we're starting to come back to that conversation now. And from the very beginning, we knew there was no evidence. We knew we needed more clinical trials, but that wasn't always going to be the way forward. And we knew we needed to collect more data to evidence how cannabis is used, how safe it is, what are the optimal dosing ranges, how does it affect certain treatments, how can it replace potential first-line therapies, how safe is it when it's integrated with other medicines, is it best at certain times in the day, how is it best consumed, there's so many things that we should know, and many of us know in ourselves, but we haven't been able to collect that information and complete that research to help change the conversation. And instead, what we got are these bad characters that are implementing a system that didn't work overseas, of bringing it home and have brought it to this country, brought it into Australia. And the result is that we've got family members that are hurting today, and it can't be justified. It can't be justified at all. Patients deserve better. There's no doubt about it. Today is a day to recognize how we got here and what we need to do to turn it around. And what we need to do is all work together. We all need to come together. The bad actors need to go. A new system needs to come in. New people need to be at the table. And we need to map out the path of how we can understand and discover the medical components of cannabis, how it can be used, what doses it can be used, and how can we help more people to benefit from this plant rather than utilize the plant in ways that may cause harm. You may not agree with everything I've just said, and that's okay. These are just some thoughts. This is High Living with Chad. Thank you.